Oh yeah, it's definitely getting real. I want to start by giving all the praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Baruch HaQuadash. Double honors to the elder apostles and bishops of the great millstone who rule well. Peace, blessings, and salutations to the house of David, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. And this is in Russia drives two nuclear missiles and tanks in front of U.S. Embassy in Moscow. Citizens chant Nuke Washington after Crimea bridge attacked. Yeah, they're poking that bear until he eventually gets ready to attack. And this is all the Lord's doing. And the Lord said that, he would stir up the Medes against them. And when you look up that word stir up, it literally means to incite. Let's go to that real quick. Now we know that the modern day Russians aren't the ancient Medes, but the Edomites that occupy the land of Russia, they're in the landmass where the Medes, if they would have migrated a little north to the location of their particular region, would be modern day Russia today. All right, so the people that occupy that land up there in Russia, um, the Medes pretty much dwelt south of that region. So when you read about the prophecies of the Medes, it's just speaking in code for the Russians. Even though um, the modern day people who occupy Russia aren't the ancient Medes, we know that they were the uh, the Japhetic people. Okay, I just want to clarify that before I went into it. This is Isaiah 13 and verse 17. That says, "Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it." All right. We're not concerned about money or anything of that nature. All right. The Lord's putting it in a heart, you know, to think that evil thought, to finally get rid of the opposition, that being in the West, spearheaded by who? The great whore. And you look up the word stir up, the Hebrew word is iwar, and it says to rouse oneself, awaken insight. All right. So what are you doing when you're inciting something? Pretty much starting a fight, man. It says incite, encourage, or stir up violent or unlawful behavior. All right. Urge or persuade someone to act in a violent or unlawful way. All right. Fan the flames of. So with the latest move, with them attacking the Crimea bridge, that was a heavy blow to their war effort, because that was the longest bridge, you know, connected to their land, that was used as a commute route for troops, soldiers, to transport weapons. And now with that being sabotaged, that just put a kink in their war effort. So they're highly pissed, and they already are you know angered by the US's effort in Ukraine, you know, giving them all this aid, giving them all these weapons, and they're the ones who's contributing to the death of a lot of those Russian soldiers, you know, uh, in this Ukraine conflict. So now they're taking it to the streets and they're pissed, and now they're yelling "Nuke Washington." All right, while driving ICBMs past the U.S. embassy. So this is getting real for real. All right, it says fury in Russia over the Ukrainian attack upon the Crimea bridge Saturday reached a fever pitch when Russia drove 2 yards intercontinental ballistic missiles on the street in front of the U.S. Embassy in Moscow. Russian citizens carrying the St. George's ribbon and a mock ICBM publicly chanted "Nuke Washington." Video of both below. The Crimea Bridge, the longest bridge in Russia, was attacked on Saturday morning by Ukraine. The bridge was hit with some type of explosives and suffered significant damage. Yep. And you see that, the footage of the attack. I'm going to read this part. It says, Citizen Fury. The citizens of Russia are so utterly furious with the actions of the United States and our NATO vessels in Ukraine. They took to the streets of Moscow today chanting "Nuke Washington." Hmm. Carrying the ribbon of St. George flags and led by a mock ICBM, the crowd protested the actions of the United States, which is arming Ukraine, giving money to Ukraine, and providing intelligence data to kill Russian soldiers that they gathered and marched through Moscow to the U.S. Embassy. The St. George ribbon is of special meaning and importance in Russia. The ribbon of St. George is a Russian military symbol consisting of a black and orange bicolor pattern with 3 black and 2 orange stripes. It appears as a component of many high military decorations awarded by the Russian Empire, the Soviet Union, and the current Russian Federation. So this is serious, man. And the Lord is putting the hooks into their jaws right now. Okay, preparing them for basically for war. They right now they're conducting a draft. A lot of people are trying to disable themselves because they don't want to be drafted into this war. But hey, this is the Lord wants this. The Lord, He said, His determination is to gather the nations. He's mustering the host of the battle. So hey, if you get drafted, then ultimately the Lord is putting you in this war. All right, you're going to be used. All right, because the war of Armageddon is already written. It says in the early 21st century, the ribbon of St. George came to be used as an awareness ribbon for commemorating the veterans of the Eastern Front of the Second World War, known in post-Soviet countries as the Great Patriotic War. So they know what time they're in. They know that hey, this is war. We getting ready to go into war. All right, and our Lord told us that these things would happen, man. All right, we're gonna always bring these same scriptures out. All right, Matthew 24 and verse 6. Let me read it in the NLT. And it reads, and you will hear of wars and threats of wars. But don't panic. Yes, these things must take place, but the end won't follow immediately. And we know ultimately this war is not going to turn nuclear until all the things he spoke since the beginning be fulfilled. All right. You know, the MOTB, the persecution, the getting thrown into prisons. Okay, the more famine. Okay, civil unrest, martial law, all these different things. All right, nation will go to war against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes in many parts of the world, but all this is only the first of the birth pains, with more to come. All right, and during this time, We gotta put off those mortal thoughts. You know, let's get 2nd Ezra 14. So we know things are getting ready to escalate. The world economy is suffering, and it's only going to get worse. 2nd Ezra 14 and 14, it says, "Let go from the mortal thoughts, cast away the burdens of man, put off now the weak nature, and set aside the things that are most heavy unto thee, and haste thee to flee from these times. For yet greater evils than those which thou hast seen happen shall be done hereafter." All right, so we're not at the, we're at the end, but there's going to be more evils to look forward to. All right, but everything is being lined up. All right, we're getting closer and closer to that day. So going back, uh, here's the video right here. Hold on, let me see if I can actually try to play this. Yep. So this is the crowd right in front of the embassy, and they walking around with basically like a mock ICBM mascot yelling "Nuke Washington," as you can see it. All right, and the world is about ready for that, man. Because this is the scriptures refer to this place as the hammer of the earth. When this place gets its final demise, prophecy says, "How have the hammer of the earth fallen?" Jeremiah 51. Salakia. Jeremiah 50 and 23. I think it's 23. Yep. Jeremiah 50 and 23. And this is after these nations that the Lord is assembling against the West, against the U.S. The Lord's going to stir them up and set them in array, and they're going to aim their arrows and shoot on this place. And the Lord is the one who's setting it up, man. He's going to ambush Babylon. All right. This whole chapter is going into that. All right. Everybody that hold the bow, bend the bow and shoot at her and spare no arrows. All right. It's all part of the vengeance of the Lord, right? So after the destruction, verse 23 says, "How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How has Babylon become a desolation among the nations?" All right. And, because, this place in its history, it's been known to be the aggressor the whole time. All right. A barrage of attacks on different countries. Hiroshima, Nagasaki, you know, Yugoslavia, the only country that actually used, you know, atomic weapons on another landmass. All right. The great devastator, devastated entire cities, turned them into wastelands. So when this place finally gets its double dose, it's gonna become a desolation. All right. Went from being the greatest, most feared kingdom to a desolation among the nations. And the horror is gonna piss these nations off that badly, which ultimately, the Most High is pissed off. Okay. But anyway, let's read some more of this. It says, "This type of citizen action openly calling for a nuclear attack by Russia against the United States has never been seen before in history. Um, I think I might have seen the Iranians do so as well, but they've had, war cries against the U.S. in the past. All right, but this is the growing sentiment of these opposing nations against the West, man. They're ready to get it on nuclear, and they don't even care if it's going to cause, massive death. They just understand that the key to the world's problems is getting rid of the common denominator, the cancer of the earth, and that's these small hats, and that's the great whore. It says Russian elected officials see this public support and it may very well factor into their decision about what the future may require. That became explicitly evident this evening in Moscow when it says Russia drives nuclear missiles past U.S. embassy. In the evening of October 8th, in the wake of the Crimea bridge attacks, the Russian government sent two fully operational nuclear missile launcher trucks to drive directly in front of the U.S. embassy in Moscow. Yep. And the Lord is he's whetting the sword, man. Sharpening and getting them swords ready, because this battle is gonna be fought with fuel of fire, man. Isaiah 9 verse 5 says the transporter erector launcher trucks were carrying the Yars intercontinental ballistic missile, which is armed with at least one 800 kiloton nuclear warhead. The missile can carry at least four warheads, and if they are smaller, 100 kiloton versions, it's like 100 KT versions, they can carry 10 of those instead. Each warhead is a MIRV, multiple independent reentry vehicle. Each warhead can be programmed to attack a different target. One missile can mean up to 10 American cities hit at the same time. Woo! One missile can mean up to 10 American cities at the same time. So just imagine when it's raining nuclear missiles all over one area of the earth, that being America. That's why in Revelation it talks about the third part of men uh, falling. It's going to kill off a lot of people, man. Death is going to be like, it's going to be an unprecedented number of people dead on the earth in that day. Okay? See if I can find that. It is Revelation 9 and 13. It says, and the sixth angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the four horns of the golden altar, which is before the Most High Power, saying to the sixth angel which had the trumpet, loose the four angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates. Which that region of the world is where the war of Armageddon is being stirred up. Okay, and that great river, that mighty river, has been drying up the past 10 years. All right, so we're at that time. It says, and the four angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour and a day and a month and a year to slay the third part of men. Okay, a third part of men. And then also we know that um, the nations were split into three parts. Because back then you had the three classifications. You had the sons of God, which were the Israelites before they were known as the Israelites. The sons of men, and you had the sons of the wicked. And Esau is going to be the sons of the wicked are the main target. Okay, It's gonna the sword is gonna be bathed in heaven and come down upon Idumea. All right, it's gonna be a big sacrifice, a big oblation in Basra. It says, and the four angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour and a day, and a month and a year for to slay the third part of men. Because the four angels, they're holding back those winds. All right. Most all the elect are you know activated, so to speak, because they already sealed. But once they're activated, all the elect are pretty much in there. Then they can actually let go, you know, and kick this war off, so that these people can finally destroy themselves, and the Lord come and gather His elect and deliver them and save them from the destruction. All right, and then this goes into the army of the horsemen, which is a metaphor for the nukes. All right, which is all part of the armory of the Most High. These are the weapons of His indignation. All right, verse 16, and the number of the army of the horsemen, which horse represents power. All right, were 200,000. They just said that one nuke can mean up to 10 American cities, because they can be broken down to multiple nuclear warheads. One missile can carry multiple nuclear warheads. And Russia is not going to be the only country that's going to launch. All of America's enemies are going to launch. And even their own allies with the EU, they're going to see that America has been a frenemy. All right. So everybody's going to be shooting. It says, and I heard the number of them, and thus I saw the horses in the vision, and them that sat on them, having breastplates of fire and of jacinth and brimstone, and the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions, and out of their mouths issued fire and smoke and brimstone. That's those nukes. By these three was the third part of men killed, by the fire and by the smoke, by the brimstone, which issued out of their mouths. Right? The mouth of the missile, which is where the warhead comes from. Okay, when it breaks away from the body and it comes down. Now, let's go to I think it's in Revelation 11. Yeah, Revelation 11 and verse 12. It says, and they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, come up hither, and they ascended up to heaven in a cloud. And it's talking about our deliverance. Right before those nukes touch down, the angels are going to be gathering the elect, and they're going to be getting beamed up into the ships, so that they can be in a safe place, spared from the Lord's wrath of His indignation. All right, come up hither, and they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them. In the same hour was there a great earthquake, because that's when the nukes are going to finally be hitting. Once we go up and we're out of the way, the nukes are going to be hitting, man, and the whole earth is going to be getting shaken up. And the 10th part of the city fell, all right, that great city, all right, which we know that this country, the United States, is divided into 10 regions. We got 10 postal codes, zip codes, all right, um, the regional postal codes, and then you have the 10 FEMA regions as well that they got this place divided up in. So all of America is going to get destroyed, all right. And in the earthquake were slain of men 7,000, which we know seven just means completion. All right, so it's going to be a certain amount of people on earth that's going to die. And the remnant were affrighted and gave glory to the Most High God of heaven. Okay, and because it says in First Peter the fourth chapter in the 17th verse that if the righteous scarcely be saved, where shall the ungodly and sinner appear? So even the righteous are gonna be affrighted. So this is gonna be a very great and dreadful day, a day of gloominess, a day of great distress. It's gonna be horrible, and we're coming closer and closer to that time, which is why things like this are happening, building up to that day. All right, so going back, I'm gonna read a little more, and then we can close. It says, never before in the recorded history of this world has any nation paraded live nuclear missiles on launcher trucks against another nation's official embassy. To many observers, this is the single most explicit warning of nuclear war ever given. Yeah, we just saw that the omen last Sunday, where it was a cloud that looked like a nuclear explosion. You know, that a mushroom cloud that was lit orange from the reflection of the sun. You know, then me and a few other brothers did lessons on it. So we're even given tokens, omens of this happening. It says, here's the video of those nuclear missiles passing in front of the U.S. Embassy in Moscow, which is the white building with gold trim. Here's actual video of the nuclear missile trucks and a slew of tanks passing the U.S. Embassy in Moscow.
Проснулся свет в кромешной темноте, и Богу была названа цена. Прогнулись все и братья во Христе, прогнулось все, но не моя страна. Был урожайным высокосный год, и кровью смерть была пьяным пьяна, а туч свинцовых гнулся небосвод. Прогнулось все, но не моя страна. О, небо.
Man, now I gotta get the scripture. Jeremiah 51 and 11. And it says, make bright the arrows, gather the shields. The Lord have raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes, for his devices against Babylon to destroy it, because it is the vengeance of the Lord, the vengeance of his temple. Okay? Here it is, man. The Lord setting this thing up. So we living in very interesting times, yo. All right. Jeremiah 51 and 28. Prepare against her the nations with the kings of the Medes, the captains thereof, and all the rulers thereof, and all the land of his dominion. And the land shall tremble in sorrow, for every purpose of the Lord shall be performed against Babylon, to make the land of Babylon a desolation without an inhabitant. Okay? You know, he's going to turn this place into Sodom and Gomorrah. So, yeah, this is, you know, they're ready for it, man. Okay? And when you read the commentary, which I'm gonna try to read through. When you read the commentary, it makes an interesting point because they're more ready for a nuclear war than the West is. You know, remember this place is, you know, they're given to pleasure and dwell careless. All right, so they're not. These people over here, they're definitely not ready for that. All right, but they've been in preparation, you know, for a while now. So if this was to take place, who will be more prepared? It says, let me see. Yeah, I'll read it. This is a good read, man. It says Russia sending live nuclear missiles on launcher trucks to pass in front of the U.S. Embassy in Moscow is the single most unprecedented nuclear threat in the history of the world. Yet the American people remain blissfully unaware that their federal government is causing so much trouble overseas. We are now at actual risk of being hit with a nuclear attack. The American people are not being told by their mass media that things between the U.S. and Russia have spiraled so terribly in the past few months. Yeah, because they're constantly under uh, enchantments of Babylon, keeping them massively distracted. All right, with scandal after scandal, sports and entertainment, bread and circuses. This whole thing with Kanye West and him, going back and forth with Diddy, and then him threatening to go DEFCON 3 on the small hats. And them, canceling him and you know, getting rid of his Twitter. I mean, not Twitter, his Instagram account or whatever. So it's a lot, going on right now, man. While the masses is being distracted, you see, and they use these celebrities, they because they got handlers, man. So they on cue, they always start some type of controversy. So to have everybody mind, and people talking about that particular situation, but they're not being made aware of what's really going on. All right, so continuing on, it says, in fact, the entire U.S. mass media, including ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, MSNBC, CNBS, Fox News, newspapers like the New York Times, the Los Angeles Times, the Chicago Tribune, the Boston Globe, the Miami Herald, the Dallas Morning News, and all the rest have kept reporting about this matter to a bare minimum. To my knowledge, not one of them have outlined how close we actually are to World War III and a nuclear holocaust. The same goes for all the big name wire services, Associated Press, United Press International, Thomson Reuters News Service, limited coverage at best. And they got to keep these people asleep and blinded. But hey, we got the eyes off. Plus, we're paying attention because the prophecies say to measure the times diligently. Scriptures talk about being circumspect, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the times because the days are evil. All right? That's how important it is to keep watch, to pay attention, to stay sober. These people, they're sleeping the night. Let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober. Um, let's go down real quick. I want to read this part. And it says, yes, Russia can defeat us. You see, they have hypersonic missiles, and we don't. They have nuclear bomb shelters for their population, and we don't. The super rich got them, but the average nigga, you know, you Jakes, you ain't got nowhere to run to. Even you celebrity sellouts, you won't have nowhere to run to. They're not gonna let you. The elites are not gonna let you where they at. So you niggas gonna be food out here, man. It says they have food, water, medicine, electric generators, and machine tools in all of their nuclear shelters, and we don't. The long and short of this is they survive, we don't. You see, this is not about Russia using nukes against Ukraine. Russia doesn't need to do that. Ukraine is nothing, and the Russian army would ordinarily make quick work of them easily. That's why you shouldn't listen to the mainstream media that got it all one-sided, as if Russia is having a super hard time and they're basically losing the war to little old Ukraine. But yet they managed to uh, annex, 4 regions of Ukraine. All right, and they all voted and agreed in that referendum. So, don't listen to Western media. It says, well, Ukraine is being supplied by the USA and its NATO vessels, puppets on a string. That's what NATO countries are, puppets dancing on a U.S. string. And that's the beast with the whore riding it. Something that's riding something, you're steering it. You have control over it. All right, but eventually they're gonna turn on the U.S. They're gonna basically They're gonna be tired of being puppets for the U.S. All right, especially what the U.S. is causing the beast economically. It says Russia knows this, and Russia, it seems to me, is growing tired of the relentless meddling by the U.S. and NATO that is costing the lives of thousands of Russian soldiers. Russia has warned the United States over and over again stop interfering in Ukraine as it is none of your business. Ukraine is not a member of NATO. Ukraine has no treaties for defense with the US. The US has no economic or national security interests in Ukraine, yet we are sending tens of billions of dollars in weapons and munition and cash money to Ukraine. In addition, we are using our spy satellites and military spy planes to gather real-time intelligence on Russian troop movements and then providing targeting coordinates to Ukraine to kill those Russian troops. Russia is rapidly coming to the conclusion that all their troubles can be stopped by hitting the United States with a nuclear strike and hitting us first. See that? I'll read just a little more. It says they know that the moment a nuke detonates on US soil, NATO will fall apart. Sure, the UK will fire a return nuke strike, but the UK is tiny and can be wiped out by Russia's new Sarmat missile in 202 seconds. Oof. Yes, you read that right. 202 seconds from launch to impact, and the UK is gone. France may also fire a nuke or two, but the French know the Russian Sarmat missiles can launch and hit Paris in 180 seconds. France will likely buckle rather than be nuked. So they'll be afraid to actually send nukes over there. They know how quick Russia can touch them. The way I see it, all the little NATO member countries will fold like a cheap camera the moment Big Brother USA gets hit, because all that the little NATO countries know they don't stand a chance if the US isn't around to back them up. Hmm. Yeah, and that's why I believe last minute they're gonna act like they're with the US, but turn around and actually shoot on the US. Because the Lord's gonna make them do that. Because they inwardly they hate the whore, man. They hate America, man. And that's Revelation 17 and 16. I ain't even got to get it. So y'all see where this is going at, man. And that's why we gotta, continue to push and continue and focus, man. You know, be spiritually and mentally prepared for what's to come. These people they ain't gonna know what hit them. All right, that Apostle Paul said in Thessalonians, you have no need that I write unto you. All right, First Thessalonians 5:1. But of the times and the seasons, brethren, you have no need that I write unto you, for yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. When they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. But you, brethren, are not in darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief. You are all the children of light and the children of the day. We are not of the night nor of darkness. Therefore, let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober. All right. So, what I'll do is I'll leave a link to this in the description box. So you brothers can you can check it out for yourself. And hey, let's continue to chant this place down, man. Babylon, hey, a bob a ball, man. A bob a ball. A bod ba ball, man. Mawafla ba ball. Call Loyam La Yahba Shmiao Shai, double honors to the elder apostles, the bishops of the great millstone, peace, blessings, and salutation to the house of David. Shalom.